Before I say good morning, I want to just say we are both kind of sick. So if there's any heavy breathing into the mic, no, you did not hear that.
I just can't breathe out of or into my nose currently.
Hi, Alyssa. Good morning.
Good morning. Another podcast, another week.
What can I help you? Wait, no, hold on.
Hold
Before I
up.
do that,
Let's introduce ourselves.
welcome back to Mentored. Business mentorship in real time.
Live.
How can I mentor you today, Alyssa?
This is just like me struggling not to start with the same thing. That it's like, what if we just talked?
Okay.
'Cause I've been listening back to like our podcasts.
Yeah.
And I do that all the time. So, what if we just talked?
Sure.
So that is gonna be kind of fun because I realized that I don't do a lot of networking.
Okay.
You know, like I feel like maybe not like the traditional sense. I think I do my own networking through kind of just like being a friendly guy.
Sure.
You know, and it's got me like this far.
Yeah.
But I thought it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on like maybe like the old style of networking, how it like used to be back in the day, versus like what people do now, and then maybe like kind of what you and I do, because I feel like we both are not traditional or modern or whatever. We kind of just wing it. So I'd be curious to know. And I know you have a lot more networking stories. I think your networking style has changed over the years. So
Sure.
let's get into that.
Yeah, business networking, something that you hear a lot of people talk about online and everything. I guess I want to start with asking what are you considering traditional back in the day quote networking? What do you mean by that?
Like pigeon, like advertising.
Okay, you mean
You
like
know,
back
like
in like the early
so
1900s, kind of like
yeah, you'd
industrial
like
revolution after that
yeah,
sort of
like
thing.
candlelight. You'd like write on like
Right.
a
They had
scroll
light
with
bulb.
like
Okay, scrolls were going.
scrolls with
Okay,
like
all right.
ink and and then you tie it to a pigeon and you hope someone finds it, right?
Right. I think
No.
if we're talking about scrolls, we're going back like
No, I'm just kidding.
pre-capitalism. I'm pretty sure.
I'm just kidding. I mean, like, I would say like old style, but like maybe like pre-COVID, because I
Sure.
do think it's changed a lot
The pre-post
since
COVID,
then.
I think, is a good line to draw for stuff like this.
And
So
that's more like relevant for us, I would say.
yeah. So I think okay, I'll start there. Pre-COVID, so I got into business in a major way. Like when I was a kid, I would hang out with people that were doing like pyramid schemes and stuff. So I like thought I was in business, But I got into actual business when I was 18 years old, and that was 2014. It was the year I graduated high school. So 14 to 2020, I guess we kind of had the before COVID
Yeah.
times. BC before Kirk or before Charlie, and BC before COVID, and
Thanks.
BC before Christ.
Right.
It's kind of the Holy Trinity there. Anyway, so when I was a young business person, 18, 19, 20, so I really wanted people in the business scene to kind of take me seriously. So I was trying to get out there and network in quotations as much as possible.
Yeah, it was
Now,
very phase to phase.
yeah, I kind of have like a weird. I was gonna say I kind of have a weird vibe, but
I'm a little like, dark, mysterious.
yeah. Well, so I guess like I don't really have social anxiety per se, but when I go out, I don't particularly like approaching random people
Yeah, I
and
mean,
talking to people. Like I'll talk, like like I'm comfortable in social situations and I'm comfortable in public, and I like going to the bar and stuff and talking to people at the bar. But it's just like, when you're young, I never liked like some of my friends would like go up to girls in the bar and talk to them or whatever, or like just go talk to random people, like enter a random friend group and start talking kind of thing. Like I never really feel confident doing that.
yeah, that's fair.
And that's how a lot of the kind of multi-level marketing type people always say you have to be networking. It's kind of just like interrupt people when they're going about their daily business in a mall, and then tell them about your opportunity,
Yeah,
right?
put
So
yourself in really uncomfortable social situations.
yeah, so kind of coming off of that when I was like a teenager into like being an adult, I was kind of like, that's not how I want to do it. You know what I mean? But so I used to go to networking events. And I guess like they weren't, so I'm
Dang.
kind of all over the place right now, but like networking, there's like networking events and then there's events that you can network at. How about that for a quote?
That's fun.
Um, I think like anything that like calls itself a networking event is typically bad for networking.
I feel like from
Um,
my experience, yeah, it sets the
like
tone in a weird way. I think, at
yeah,
least in my
like
experience. I'm not saying all of them are bad, but
yeah, I find like most of the events that market themselves as like time to network to meet other entrepreneurs, etc. I find are like always pretty scammy. Like there's always like a an undertone of like everyone's trying to sell each other something. I remember we at the bar I own that you manage and bartend as well. We've had a few of these events, and some of them are great. We love working with the people. We've had like maybe 5 or 6 of different companies that have done them before, and you like working behind the bar, like 7 people tried to pitch us on, receipt paper and
that's
cleaning services, and like
yeah.
I'm like, bro, I'm working here. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
what can I get you to drink?
Yeah. Well, and then like maybe they know I'm the owner, but like not necessarily. It's not like obvious I'm the owner, right? So
Right.
it's like they could just be pitching some random guy, hey, how about my receipt paper? It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Um, so all the like, so I think like the best places to network in person are like there's events that like aren't marketed as like business networking events. Uh, for me, it's like anything that seems scammy usually is. There's always like they're always trying to get you there just to sell you something or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like part of the
Um,
bigger. I don't know. I would say bigger picture, but like I don't know the whatever business is trying to put it on there.
yeah, so
Usually,
so like the events that I used to go to pre-COVID were like parties basically. Like we would rent out. There was this group um, that I was a part of, and it was like we would rent out this bar patio, rooftop patio or whatever, and host these big parties. Um, and there's hundreds of people that would show up, and so it wasn't an explicit like this isn't a networking thing, but it's a party where like business owners almost exclusively are invited. So it's like business
right,
owners,
right.
high powered executives, and then like artists, people like that. So it's almost like that was a better situation where it's like this isn't a networking event. This is an event filled with people that you would network at, but the pretext isn't there of like I need to network and sell you something. The pretext is just like I'm going there to get drunk and have fun. And then another kind of networking thing back in the day, they still do it now, but it was more popular back in the day, that I think I've told this story on this podcast before. If not, I've told it online before. Um, there's these groups that are like, I won't name drop any, but there's certainly one in your town that is like a bunch of business owners. It's like they call it a club or a society or something like that. It's not a chamber of commerce. It's a group of business owners, and typically they'll only let one from each industry into the event, into the thing, and you have to like pay to be a member. And then the idea is all the other members refer you business, and they so it's kind of like chamber of commerce, but not really. Chamber of commerce is more like a association to lobby the government. It's like you get more businesses involved so that you have a bigger power. You can say we represent 10,000 businesses across the
Right, right,
country.
right.
Um, this is not really like that. It's like a private club where you have to be a business owner to get in, and then you typically limit it to like one per industry or maybe two per industry. And I've been to many of these dinners or lunches over the years.
Interesting.
I say many, maybe 4 different ones. And I usually always go with, or no, so it's like a not open to the public sort of thing. You can only go as somebody else's guest. All four times I've gone, and so I've gone as a guest or whatever, and it's like I went to three pre-COVID and then one recently, in the last year. But I've been invited to many, many more because I think you're kind of encouraged to bring people to them.
Try to get people in there.
Yeah, and I don't want to be, everyone does business in a different way. And I don't want to be like mean to any people, but the one I went to recently was like they spent the first half hour of the meeting, big banquet hall, and one by one everyone stood up at every table and introduced themselves and said their business and then sat back down. And I think they were supposed to say like, oh, or maybe they weren't supposed to, but like a bunch of people said like, oh, and I want to thank you over there, Alyssa, for your help last week on that thing, and then like, they would just like
Right.
do little things like that. And it was just like one by one introducing themselves, and then people would like clap and like, and I was just like thinking, it's 11 a.m. on a Friday. Do you people not have jobs?
Because I felt like kind of mean, but that was gonna be my first thing. That I was like, do you not have work
Yeah,
to do?
yeah. And you know, if that works, if that group works for you, great. The lunch was good, the catering. But I felt like it was such like and excuse my language, but like masturbation,
Mm.
for lack of a better term, where it was like, and I want to stress that it wasn't everybody, and it wasn't the person that invited me to this, but some of the people there, you could tell they were only there because they're like, I'm a businessman and I have a business and I want to thank you for listening to my business and all this, right?
Right.
And
Because also, like, this might be getting a little bit off topic to ask, but like, at what point does then it just become like I want to say like cesspool of like you're not really meeting any new people. Like
yeah,
at some point, you
yeah,
kind of like max out the same people that you're doing business with, right? Like,
yeah. I guess the idea
I guess
is,
it's just like a club. You're not really trying to.
yeah, I guess the idea is like if there's a painter and a deck builder on the same, or a painter and a carpenter. I don't know why I went so specific with deck, but like, if there's a painter and a carpenter in the same club, then every time the carpenter gets a house building job, he can recommend the painter, and then they both
I
get work
see.
together, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
things like that. Or I think like there's people in my industry, in the liquor industry, that would go to these things, and then when restaurants and stuff would you would get stalked, or
okay. Yeah, I
you would
mean,
have a anyone in your group that has a staff party or whatever, they would get the liquor from the person in the group, right? And I don't know, I was just kind of like, it just, the vibe of certain people were just like not, like, it was so self-serving, and I really felt like this isn't the way to do this whole thing. So that's like kind of networking, kind of whatever. But then like, yeah, the
definitely older style, I would say.
definitely, and I think like it made more sense back in the day when pre-internet, and where it's like harder to get referrals or whatever. But now it's like everything's at your fingertips, and like even like saying like everything is online is like kind of a boomer thing to say. It's like everyone's using AI, LLMs and stuff now, and it's just like less and less people are getting their recommendations from like this sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So I don't know. So I guess like my main point with kind of these stories is that like I think that a lot of the old style uh, networking in person, where it's like structured to be business networking, I think is kind of, the efficiency has fell to the wayside. Um,
100%, yeah.
and then what, COVID happens, and then you get out of COVID, and everyone's weirder.
Yeah, because that's like my only point of reference, right? Is like the
Because you started a business
I
kind of
guess
post COVID
I
almost.
mean, yeah, right. Like
2023.
yeah,
Yeah.
2023. So it was like we're like the tail end of it, right?
Yeah.
People were so weird, but it wasn't like, what it was.
Yeah.
And so like my only point of reference has been like basically when we've had them at the bar,
Yeah.
when we've like held those like networking events. And I mean like, and it is like, to be fair, like, yeah, you're not going, I'm not attending as like a business owner, but like bartending. So like, but like watching it from behind the bar is like, was a different experience, I feel like, because I was like, I don't know if I want to talk to anybody. And
Yeah.
not because I'm like, oh, I don't want to meet new people or like whatever, because like I do feel I'm fairly sociable. Like I know how to talk to people. I enjoy talking to people. But there was like a weird vibe where I was like, it was like, yeah, a lot of just, you know,
Car salesman sort of thing. Not actual
yeah.
car salesman, but the proverbial car salesman. A lot of like
Yeah.
um when I go to a lot of these networking things, people walk up with a handful of business cards, and they, before they even say anything, they're handing people their
And
business
that's
card,
kind of
and
like,
it's just like,
I think we genuinely, I think we've talked about this in like one of our earlier podcasts, was that like it becomes where it's like almost very like self-serving, which is
yeah,
kind of what you were saying, right?
yeah,
But then it was like the idea for me, at least for networking, is that it's like you want to have like, see if there's like a mutual, relationship that you can have, that it's like, oh, it benefits you, it benefits me.
yeah,
Like, let's like, I'm actually interested to hear what you have to say, they're actually interested to hear what I have to say. But it felt like it was like no one was really listening to each other.
yeah.
There
It's
was no
like,
like real conversations. It was just like pitch after pitch,
yeah,
and it was just like there's nothing really felt like it was being retained.
yeah, and I think like you'll definitely see people that lose interest when they realize you can't help them.
Yeah, where they're like, you can tell, you can like watch people be
And
like, well, how can I like sell to you? And then if when
yeah,
they can't find something, like it's crazy, the shift.
and I've been to things like where it's like, between the three businesses I own, they're all like niche manufacturing businesses, and like we have a farm, and like, it's like, so I'll go to networking things with like tech people,
I
and
see.
they're always just like, so it's like, oh, you manufacture rubber stamps and you have a vineyard and a farm. How does that help me scale my app?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, my AI medical startup. You're not gonna be able to help me at all, right? No, okay. And then it's
Yeah.
like, and then they're not listening. They're like looking past you when you're talking, and it's like, okay, why are we even
Yeah, for
having
the
this
next
conversation,
person.
right?
And I'd be like, and you know what? Sure, time is money. Like
Well,
you're trying to.
okay, you can say that, and I can have that opinion, but it's like, then don't come to these things.
That's what I mean.
If
I
your
guess it's like,
time's so
what's
valuable.
what's the goal? I don't know if this is getting off topic at all, but like I don't know. That's how I felt too. Is like being there where I was just like, this isn't.
Yeah,
Even if like I met someone who like, oh, this would help grow my business, or this, I could use these whatevers. It just it felt so like disingenuous.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
yeah.
which I feel like isn't the point.
I think you nailed it. Where that's the biggest part of a lot of these things is the disingenuous nature. People are just there to try and sell you something, and
Yeah.
so I think like we should transition into like what a good networking looks like.
Yeah, which I feel like is like, so I feel like it's like the way that I at least do my networking is like just having a genuine conversation with another business owner, because like we do a lot of farmers markets. That's like our whole thing, right?
Yeah,
And so I find like, I mean, again, not everyone can do farmers markets. It's like, if you're not in the industry, it doesn't make sense. But I feel like it's like, I don't know, just finding ways to like support one another. I've met so many of my suppliers, so many of like, even just like cheap packaging, cheap like, I don't know, like just with other local businesses, with people who like actually like want to work with you and like, I don't know, build something together. And I found that like all you have to do is like be interested.
yeah,
And so I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's kind of cheesy, but I really do. Like, that's how you and I met, is we were just like, what do you do? Tell me about your business. And like, I actually listened and retained information.
yeah,
And like vice versa.
yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's not the best way to do networking, but
I think like it's almost like people talk about relationships where it's like you'll find the love of your life when you're like ready to be single, you know? It's like
right.
you'll hear that occasionally where it's like that's when that's when it'll hit you. It's like when you don't need it anymore
Yeah,
kind
when
of
you're like
thing. Like
actively not looking for
yeah,
it.
so
Yeah.
that's like how I kind of feel with the business networking as well is like as soon as you're not so focused on it, it
Mhm.
almost happens more naturally
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
like you're just doing business. And then a great way, like the farmers market's a great way obviously because it's like where those people that you would do business with are all congregating, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm sure there's something, you know, maybe I should have done some homework before recording, but like I'm sure there's something for your industry, for the person listening, that's similar to that, where it's like, where do people like you go? You know, whether maybe it's conventions of that sort of
Yeah.
thing or trade shows
100%.
of your industry. Maybe that's kind of what I'm thinking towards. But it's like, where are people that are just like doing their business, going to do their business? That's like a better place to meet these people than is like by doing business with them. I think that's
100%.
like the number one way to network with business people is by doing some business with them, you know, be that buying something or bringing them a customer or like a referral or, you know, something like that is like the best way to build rapport with people.
100%. I
I
mean, it's like it's
also,
called a relationship.
yeah,
You know, like it's
I heard, I forget where it's from. It's from some book, maybe How to Win Friends and Influence People, one of those kind of books. But it's like the best way to like build like relationships and like not get favors, but like this sort of thing is like by introducing two people that like so like someone's talking to you and they're like, "Hey, I need oh, I've been struggling with, you know, my bookkeeping or whatever." And then you go, "Oh, my friend Mark or whatever is a bookkeeper." And then you connect those two and you get nothing in that situation, but you've helped, you know, Bill get a bookkeeper and you've helped Mark the bookkeeper make some money. So you get nothing out of that situation.
yeah.
But now like both of them owe you a favor basically
Oh,
because
I realized we were heading that
well,
way.
I
That's
you
fair.
know,
That
but
makes
like
yeah, no, that makes sense.
essentially, right? It's like both of them like you've done something good for both of them without benefiting at all.
Right.
So that's like one of the most effective ways of like let's call it networking is like helping solve other people's problems and connecting other people is like
Right.
something that's like the most effective, which I
Yeah.
thought that's an interesting way
That's
to look
interesting.
at it.
Yeah. Another thing I was gonna touch on was kind of like in a more like modern day aspect. I found another really good thing that I do just for the bar, because I do a lot of the event planning. I do a lot of the event planning and like kind of like just trying to like reach out to like new clients, like new partners, essentially. Because you know our goal is like we try to host as many like monthly events. So it's like stuff that's like repeats all the time, right? Um, so I just like I literally just go on Eventbrite and I look at what other people are doing in our city and I reach out to like other people through email. And that is my form of networking. And we've met so many people because of it. And I think also like created a lot of different like business relationships because of it.
Yeah, and I think
Where it's
that
like it's like such dumb advice, but it is just like I don't know, just reach out.
yeah, but and I think like that's like kind of what we're talking about here, where it's like, you know, we're not asking what they can do for us. We're like, hey, can we give you money by doing an event with
Oh,
you? Like, you know,
that's exactly what
it's
it
like we're
is.
doing
Yeah.
legwork for them. We're like, we're not saying how can you help me. We're saying here's how we can help you. We can plan an event for you. We can get you customers in the door, and all you have to do is do
Mhm.
your job and do it,
Yeah.
right? So
And
that's like,
honestly, it's like it's not much more work for us. And I start a lot of my emails by just like being completely like, you know, we want to get more events in the bar. I see that you do these events at you know about this thing, and it'd be no, you know, usually it's like, oh, we'll do a no cost to you. We can either split tickets or do this kind of whatever, or you can just use our space depending on what they're doing and, whatever. Um, and I mean, that's been beneficial, I think, for a lot of people. And I think we've gotten a lot of like repeat events and new connections like because of it.
Yeah.
And then literally just a Google search.
Yeah. And then like the other, while we're on the topic of like on the internet networking,
Yeah.
I've found a bunch of people that I'm close with now through like a niche on Twitter, on like, because of my whole, drunk dividends financial Twitter thing. I've met a lot of people and done business actually with people, and got customers, and dare I say became friends with people that I met on Twitter. And that's just because I started kind of posting and creating content in that niche of like business ownership and business acquisitions and stuff. And that's where I kind of met people. So like you can do that online. It doesn't have to be on Twitter, but there's so many good social media places that are focused on your particular niche that I'm sure you can meet people in. But it's all about interacting in good faith and interacting genuinely, where you're not ever looking for a benefit to you. If as long as you're interacting in a way that you're genuinely interested, and you're interacting with it in a way that like you're not looking for anything back necessarily, then I think that's one of the best ways to ironically get stuff back is by not needing it, to kind of go back to the relationship
No,
allegory.
100%. That's couldn't say it better, I think. And it's interesting how it's like you see like pre-COVID, like how it kind of goes back to that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like how you're talking about how in the beginning, where it's like just kind of partying, and you're not really trying to make any connections, but you're like, well, business wise anyway, but it's like it just happens naturally,
Yeah.
if you like get along with someone. And then how it's like, I feel like it's kind of fallen a little bit to everyone. I mean, and everyone's struggling. Everyone's trying to like make a living and figure things out, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm very like cheesy that I feel like you really don't have anything if you don't have a community.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
At least for me. I don't know.
Aw.
Aw, so cute. Me doing my little farmer's market. I think it's like, that's so like, what a cliche.
And then we also love the little community that we have here on the Mentored podcast.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to another episode.
That is so kind. I see you guys all in the comments.
Did I mentor you enough today?
Yeah, that was just like nice a little good
little talk.
heartwarming talk. Needed that today after being like down and out with the the sinus cold.
Yeah, if you hear any hard cuts in this episode, it was me sneezing. Thank you for listening to Mentored Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook, mentor_D, spell out apostrophe. And then on Twitter, Mentored Podcast, because mentor_D was too long for Twitter, apparently.
Yeah.
My name is Willows. You can follow me, Vote Willows, VOTEWILLOWS, on everything. And then drunkdividends.com. Shrug.com, SHRUGDOC.com, CanadianMarking.com, ChemMarkIndustries.com, MapleWaferRubberStamp.ca.
Nice. And if you find him, you can find me.